Nothing brings people together like La Ventanita, the walk-up windows where Miami meets to drink Cuban coffee and swap stories. I'm Carlos Frias, the Miami Herald food editor. In each episode of La Ventanita, we'll talk with some of the world's best chefs to get a window into their lives while tasting some strong Cuban coffee and some delicious traditional Cuban snacks. Thomas Keller put American fine dining on the map. Other chefs speak about him with a reverence that borders on religion. We asked him about surviving as one of 5 brothers with a single working mom.
They would physically threaten us if we didn't do their chores as well, so they could do whatever they wanted to do.
How he almost blew it on a Hollywood movie set.
And I was just kind of, how this whole kind of experience.
You're watching the movie.
This is your job. You have to watch them and make sure they're doing their job correctly.
Later buy a ticket and do that in the theater.
And oh, okay, okay, let's do it again.
And how watching a brother serve in Vietnam shaped this all-American kid.
Whether you agree with the political climate or not agree with the political climate, we are in a great country.
We brought him Cuban coffee and pastelitos to chat at his new Miami restaurant. Thanks for making the time for us. And I think it's a perfect setting for having pastelitos and colada, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited about the pastelitos. I haven't had one in quite some time, so I'm curious in what you brought me, really, because I know you know them. So this is your town.
So let's see what we have here first.
Yeah.
Really nice box.
Well, they look beautiful.
Yeah, they're really nice.
I love just the quality of the bake. There's so many times that you eat things that are baked that aren't really baked enough.
Well, let's have a little coffee. All right, we'll do the little trick here, which is
should make your little spout.
Yeah, exactly. Although this one, I usually give it to you in the styrofoam container, so this one might be. All right.
Look at that. I love this. The thimble.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You spent a certain stretch of your teenage years in Florida.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
But not really in pastelito territory.
I did not, no.
West Palm Beach.
It was West Palm Beach and West Palm Beach, yeah.
Right.
I was raised by a single parent.
There wasn't a lot of sitting around the table.
No, there wasn't a lot of sitting around the table, but I was in restaurants all the time, and I saw that. I was exposed to that, and it's always been something that I very much appreciate. And I think that's, the idea of Roland Hennon telling me, what chefs do is nurture people, and then extending that to what we do in a restaurant, not just in the kitchen, but in the dining room. How important our services in the dining room is. I mean, my mother was a working mother, and she worked at night because she ran restaurants. So. Most of the food that I ate at home was prepared by my older brothers.
Oh. How many brothers are you?
4. I'm the youngest of 5. So I didn't, and I would get whatever was left over. Of course, they were older, they were bigger, they were stronger than I was. Whatever was left over on the table, I kind of got. But the memorable times at home, for dinner were obviously the holidays. When my mother had time to come home and cook. And, it was a standing rib roast, which was always, a beautiful thing to look at, prime rib, roasted prime rib.
She must have worked so hard at that because knowing that she worked so much that she wanted to make that special.
And it was always very special. And I realized, much later in life that why it takes so long to prepare dinner at home. But my mother would get up early in the morning and spend all day making dinner because she had to do 2 or 3 things at a time as opposed to 8 things at once.
What was that table like? 5 boys around it? Because I have 3 daughters.
Yeah,
but what was that household like with 5 brothers and your mom working and those guys everybody kicking in?
And being the youngest, Joseph and I would always have to do the chores of the oldest because they would physically threaten us if we didn't do their chores as well, so they could do whatever they wanted to do. So both of us became really focused on attention to detail because my mother was. She was a perfectionist. I mean, she wanted things in a certain way. So,
well, that doesn't show up at all in your food.
Right. When she came home, if the bed wasn't made correctly or the bathroom didn't have fresh towels or whatever the chore wasn't done to her expectation, we all heard about it.
So what was it for you? Do you have little memories of like that?
Well, I mean, there were several things my mother expected, but one thing that was always was kind of fun and exciting is the way when you vacuum a carpet and being able to put a specific pattern in the carpet. Right? That was always a big thing that she would look at when she got home, making sure that carpet was vacuumed every day and those patterns were there. And it was funny because sometimes my older brother would just, just for no other reason, he would just run the vacuum and make the pattern without actually turning the vacuum on.
You, behind the scenes, you prepared the meals for the Oscars. Little known fact that you voiced one of the characters in Ratatouille, and you taught them how to make the Ratatouille dish that is presented to the. You taught Adam Sandler how to make sandwiches, right? And for the movie Spanglish. Right. But it's all behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. For me, when there's an opportunity that presents itself that I haven't experienced before, I want to embrace that. So when I got to do Spanglish, it was a lot of fun, and being next to Jim Brooks, who was the writer, and the director, and the brilliant man that he is, and I remember the first scene that was the first food shot that we did, and I'm sitting next to him, and there's the producer and Jim, and I've got the headphones on, and I'm sitting in the director's chair watching the actors do what they were doing. And Jim looks at me after the scene's over and says, "What'd you think?" And I didn't have an answer because I wasn't really paying attention to the details of what the food was. I was just kind of this whole kind of experience.
You're watching the movie.
This is your job. You have to watch them and then make sure they're doing their job correctly.
Later, buy a ticket and do that in the theater. And now,
okay, okay, let's do it again.
So when you're looking, when you were looking for that, then what did he want to get from you? A feel of authenticity?
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that the process that they were going through was one that was accurate to the food that they were preparing. Right. And that was very, very important. One of the unknowns about Ratatouille is that when they came to me to prepare this, what was now going to be a refined, center of the plate version of Ratatouille, but it wasn't until the day I plated it that I actually knew what I was going to do with it.
Interesting.
And it was fascinating. 4.5 years later, we were in our kitchen at home, and I had everything that I needed to plate the dish without knowing how I was going to do it, and nobody knew that I didn't know. So everybody's watching you? Everybody's watching me like I know what I'm doing, right. and Brad says, "Okay, roll the cameras, Thomas, get ready." And I'm still not sure what I'm going to do, and I had my palette knife, which is basically a spreader for icing cakes, rather large, and I use that for many different things. It's a utensil I use for many different things. And I started to pick up one of the lines of the shingled vegetables, and it kind of accordioned into itself. Huh. And as soon as it did that, I just put it on the plate, garnished, and it was done.
Oh,
man. Like I'd been planning that for the past 4 years.
And everybody was like, "Did you see how we did that?"
Yeah. God. So it's just one of those things, like doing things that you've never done before, just to make sure that it puts you on that edge, right? And the expectation, the excitement, the stress, the anxiety of it, and how to be able to perform, in what we do. And what we do is very much like a sports franchise. I've looked at our restaurants as sports franchises for the past 30 years.
You lived through Vietnam. What was your experience like with that?
My oldest brother went to Vietnam.
He did?
Yeah, he was in the Navy. He spent time on one of the patrol boats, throughout on the coast and throughout the rivers there. He struggles today with Agent Orange, so he still has issues with that. Michael was never chosen for the draft, and Bobby was just on the bubble when the draft stopped. We do a dinner every year at the French Laundry for about 60 Navy SEALs.
Oh wow! What was that room like?
It's extraordinary.
Because the French Laundry seats about
60 people.
Okay.
Yeah, and a gentleman named John Lee hosts them every year at the French Laundry. And it's just a wonderful experience. And Navy SEALs that are from Korea, throughout. So you see these men coming in, men, some younger, some are older, and there's a few Medal of Honor winners as well, and it's just it's just an emotional moment for all of us to kind of be around these men who've done such extraordinary things and never really feel like they've done anything extraordinary.
Right.
For them it's just that's what needed to get done at the time. Right. And they reacted to that, and it's a blessing for us all to be in America and have these opportunities that we have.
Right.
And even whether you agree with the political climate or not agree with the political climate, we are in a great country that affords us a lot of different opportunities.
Right.
And hard work and dedication and persistence and patience, pays off. And I'm a true example, of an American background, lower middle class who just worked really hard at something, and with a little bit of luck and fortune, I was able to turn what is a love affair with food and with nurturing and with experience and service and opportunity into something that has been very fulfilling.
Well, Thomas, I really appreciate you making so much time,
No,
and I'm
been
glad
fun,
that you
and
enjoyed.
This is wonderful.